Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's session of Cutting Chai. My name is Gerald Caroll. I'm the AVP of Customer Workflows for ServiceNow across Asia Pacific and Japan. And today I'll be talking to Mr. Anshu Kapoor, who's the Head of Investments for Edelweiss Financial Services. Anshu, do you want to give just a quick introduction to yourself and your background?
Sure. Gerald, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to interact with you. I have been in financial services for the last 24 years, and that's all I have done for my professional career. And over the last 12 years, I have been with Edelweiss Group to build a wealth management and an investment management business for them. And over the last 12 years, obviously, we've seen a lot of change in India, in the economy, in the customer mindset. And it gives me great joy and satisfaction to say that, we've been successful to some degree. And prior to that, I worked with Merrill Lynch and HSBC in various roles in India and overseas. So that's about me, Gerald.
And I think we can all agree that Anshu has been very modest when he says successful to some degree. When we've seen the growth of Edelweiss over the last number of years, it's been pretty astounding. These sessions, just for people who aren't familiar with them, the idea is to really kind of give you a bit of insight into how some of the leaders across industry in India are dealing with some of the challenges that today's economic situation is putting on us, and also the challenges of the pandemic. One of the things I think is incredibly interesting for people would be how you yourself are dealing with some of these things personally, Anshu, and like how you're dealing with, I would say, working from home for the first time in your life.
Well, one thing that I'm very pleased about, Gerald, is that I have not worn a suit for more than a year now. So all the suits and, all the couplings and the ties are packed away, and I'm very happy to be in this attire. But on a little serious note, I think obviously all of us got impacted by this crisis. And we have dual roles. We are leaders in our organizations. We have teams, customers, stakeholders to take care of. And obviously, when you are in this uncertain period, the responsibility actually goes up significantly in crisis. And a series of things by plan, design, or luck, and by sheer virtue of having a great team, great clients and stakeholders around you, I think that's kept us afloat, and that's given us the resilience, hope, and now belief, conviction in the fact that we will come out of this stronger. So I think that's on the work side. But more importantly, on the personal side, well, I've never had so much time with my family, to be honest. And personally, it's been a joy. I don't know if my wife will agree to that, but it's been a joy to spend so much time at home, be with family, and actually see my little one grow up. He's now 5, and I have 3 kids. So I don't think I have ever given them that much time. So it's been a joy. Also, I think we all got adjusted to this very quickly, and we can talk about it a little bit in detail. But we were actually not preparing for this world, but to some extent we were digitizing and putting all these processes or the platforms in place to be able to operate seamlessly for our customers from anywhere. And it just came into play. It just so happened that we were ready. So it was quite seamless for us working from home. Obviously, a lot of our team members have been impacted, and personally, some of us got impacted. So it's not been so much about efficiency or productivity at work. Actually, people have given more than they should have. But it's been a lot more about mental resilience and coping with the loss, the grief, the despair, the uncertainty. And there are numerous examples of stories that I've shown through, and I'm happy to share some of them with you. So that's the sum and substance of how we've been, how I've been in this crisis.
Yeah, it's a really interesting challenge of how you kind of marry the needs of your employees and the needs of yourself, but then also the needs of your customers, because that doesn't go away. The requirement to continue to drive the business forward doesn't go away. And, it's really interesting how you do that with empathy, and how you continue to motivate your team. We talked about this the last time we spoke, about some of the joys of working from home, but then also the sameness. Every day is the same, and you're used to getting up and flying to a different place, meeting people. Like in a 2 years ago, this would have been a face-to-face session, right? Sitting around a round table, and we would have maybe grabbed a drink afterwards, right? And that's completely changed. And so, how has kind of technology like helped you to manage some of those sorts of things?
Sure. And Gerald, just for context, we are in the business of managing money for people. So for us, it is critical. It's important that we are not out even for a minute. Our customers have to have the ability to access their funds, their investments, their savings. And obviously, customers have also gone through a lot of pain in this crisis. So I think just the bare bones is to be able to be accessible. And just to give you some data points, on any given day, we may trade anywhere between 1 to 3% of India's equity volumes through our platform. And we are never envisaged, we were still on a method wherein large customers will call into a dealer, and
Yep.
the dealer will punch in the order and the order gets executed. So, and for large customers, this was never envisaged that, we will need to be remote. So I think that was a challenge for us, but I'm very happy to say that in 15 to 20 days, we were able to bring the teams together, get all of that going. And I think, and it's a question of design. When we envisaged technology, we envisaged a little bit of a modular design so that, we are not dependent on one core piece to function for all the services to work. I think that went well for us. And I must say, our partners in technology supported us a lot because we depend heavily on our partner ecosystem for us to get what we want. And financial services, like I said, you need to be fast, quick, and first priority was for our existing customers to be able to access. The second priority was to see, how can we look at data centrally, all the data centrally, because we were used to working differently in a conference room and people coming with their PowerPoint presentations, right? So for that, again, the platform came through. We had access on mobile devices for all our customers, all information that was going through. And markets, if you remember, were correcting or collapsing every day.
Yep.
And we were facing big events. And one mistake can cause a client to lose a lot of money. So I think that was the second big piece for us, what we call in technical terms, risk management for customers, to be able to handle that. And then third piece was to be able to onboard or bring in new relationships or customers, because markets offer opportunities every day. And that was the third and last piece that we created. So all of this came very well together for us, fortunately, and I'm very glad and thankful to all the people who contributed towards this. But again, we never envisaged this. And I must say, it's just that, every piece fell into place, and maybe the way we were thinking modularly, not trying to create everything on our own, have these global leaders as partners who gave us the technology stack. So I think all of that came together for us, and actually our business grew from there on.
And I think that's really interesting. So that's kind of talking about accessibility being so critical, right? And I think today's customer wants to have access in a number of different ways, and we see that if you even go back 5 years, it was almost all email and phone. And now it's email, it's phone, it's Instagram, it's WhatsApp, it's Telegram, and there's a new kind of chat or omni-channel kind of tool coming out every day. How do you kind of stay ahead of that?
Well, we are trying very hard. So a lot of these trends are evolving faster than we can think. And again, I think it's a question of prioritization, Gerald, and listening to our customers, because obviously we cannot be everywhere at the same time. And this is the other thing that we have done is data versus insights. I mean, financial services, you can imagine, generates, terabytes and terabytes of data on a daily basis. So how do you and in our business, customers may say something and do something completely different because psychology is involved. One of the things we've been trying to assess and do is to find where emotion is and where rational behavior is, and to be able to actually assist and prompt customers how and what they should be doing. So I mean, there's a onus of advice on us also,
Yep.
right? I think we are very focused on that. Like I said, accessibility being the very basic, to be able to give the right advice from different channels. You are absolutely right. The human channel, the phone channel, the email, and so on. So a lot of that has undergone significant change over the last 12 months, if I may say. And the nature of business, like I said, is serious stuff. So we don't want to obviously be frivolous with our investments and with our time and with our effort. But a lot of things that can add utility or clients or real value to the customer is what we are really focused on. And because markets are so volatile, and for us to be able to predict in some manner, deal with the consequences in a 24-hour timeline, that is more critical. So a lot of advice, intuition, data, insights, I think it's a collaboration of all of that for us to be able to offer the right service. So it seems complex, but as we've drilled into it, what we hear, all these buzzwords of ML and AI and all, actually it's very, at a very basic, if you can, and I call this augmented intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. If you can layer that on top of that, um, I think we can create real value for our customers. So I would pause at that. If you have any follow-on questions, happy to answer.
Well, I think, one of the really interesting ones is we talk a lot about the technologies of how we engage with our customers. But when we talk about our staff, our internal employees, a lot of them have gone from the office where everything's provided to them to now they're working at home. In some cases, we're lucky enough to have a spare room as an office. In other cases, people are working from their bedroom and stuff like that. With the kind of nature of your business, how did you enable them to actually provide that, capability at home to stay engaged with their clients, to stay providing support when the infrastructure hasn't necessarily been there?
Yeah, and Gerald, to begin with, we did not have enough laptops.
Yeah, exactly.
We had so many desktop computers, people working from a fixed line, so to speak. So it took us little time to, buy or hire or, rent all those laptops to begin with. And then we also enabled the mobile. I think we said, laptop is going to be hard. Just go to the mobile. So a lot of our client communication, employee communication workflows are now straight through the mobile. Wherever there is no heavy documentation or reports are involved, our employees now, all 2,000 of them, are able to operate seamlessly from the mobile. So in a way, we just cut the desktop, we cut the laptop, and we said just go to the handheld device. That paid off well for us, and we realized that what we thought could take long time actually is not that difficult once you put your mind to it. So all our applications enterprise stack is available digitally today to our customers. We are fully on cloud. I think we are perhaps the only wealth manager in the country I can speak of who is fully on cloud. So, and again, that was just a call that we took 5 years back to move to the cloud when it was still not such a big buzzword. But all of that helped us. So that has helped. And then we have been extremely flexible with our employees. We have become outcome driven rather than, this time clock driven, the way it has been across the world. And also because the boundaries have blurred, there have been excessive demands on people's time. Clients could call on a Sunday, or there could be a meeting on a weekend, or so on. But I think it's a passing phase and we'll all adjust to that. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's I think it's a fascinating challenge for, like, some of the things that everyone took for granted in the office, like a good webcam, like good connectivity and stuff like that. And then you go home and you kind of realize, like, I don't have any of those things, right? And I've come across super interesting stories of executives driving around town buying laptops for their staff, right? And delivering them out to their homes. So it was a really kind of fascinating time back in the early stages. But coming on to that, what's personally for you, what's your work from home setup like?
Well, I am right now in this shared room with my 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and he insisted that he also needs to have an office if I have an office. So there, he has set up his desk just right behind me. And that is my workspace now, and that's where I work from. But occasionally, if when the restrictions come off a little bit, I do go to work once in a while if I'm allowed to, or I just drive to the close to the beach or something, hook up my laptop or my mobile and work from there, just to get a break. So that's how it is.
And at least we know we have a young wealth manager in the making, sitting behind you and soaking up all that knowledge.
I hope he becomes a techie and not a wealth manager. That's where the trend seems to be.
I think, again, when we talk about boundaries blurring, I think, almost every industry, you kind of have to become a techie these days to kind of get ahead, right?
Absolutely.
But just as we're kind of coming up to the time to wrap up, I'd be quite interested in your view of kind of the future of wealth management and how technology is going to play a part in that.
Sure, Gerald, and I do have a view. I think financial services, at least in India, is significantly behind from a customer point of view. And just to give you an example, if today in India you want to buy something online, you can go to any of the shopping sites and just click and shoot, and the order is delivered and you can track everything. That same user experience, unfortunately, doesn't exist in financial services. And I'm not talking only about execution. I'm even talking about access to good quality ideas, information, knowledge. So there's a gap. There's a huge gap in this country as far as the knowledge and availability of high quality advice and products is concerned. Forget the 1 billion people that we have. I think the access to all of this is limited to maybe not more than 2-3 million people, families in this country. So I think our challenge is to take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And that is what we are, Gerald, attempting to solve, to bridge this huge divide. And there's a term I now hear called democratization.
Yep.
So if you may say, I think that is the challenge and the opportunity. Fortunately for us, the digital backbone, the technology stack, so to speak, is now available. So the way we envision this is that, like you plug in and you get electricity, you will plug in and you will get AI tools, you will get ML tools, you will get customer experience stacks, engagement stacks, and so on. So we don't need to build all of that. Where we really need to invest and to create is to really deeply understand these segments or these stratas of customers and
Yep.
create products and services for them, and finally be able to efficiently deploy them using technology. We do not have so many human bankers in this country that can serve the needs, and it's going to be too expensive. So
Yep.
India, like in many other industries, will have its own evolution on financial services. And if you ask me, I think why we want to do this is because we feel financial services can dramatically alter outcomes of the future of a family. And that is our true belief. And what we are trying to do is to make customers really confident about their future.
Yep.
And if we can even make a 2%, 3% impact I think we would have done justice to what our cause is. So that is the gameplay or the envisioning on technology as far as this industry is concerned.
And I think that's, super interesting and something that, is a really powerful thing for your employees to get behind, right? And to drive them, because that democratization, it applies so well across the board for, lifting people up. When you talk about democratization of education, democratization of healthcare, and wealth, and wealth can often be one of the most complex things for people to understand when they don't come from a background, right? So making it simple, making it consumable, and giving it to the people where they are, and in the formats that they need to understand. So I think that's a very admirable kind of goal and ideal to be looking towards. With that, I think we've just come up on time, so I'd like to thank Anshu for all his insights, and I hope you and the audience have enjoyed this session of Cutting Chai.